Greetings everyone and welcome to SpaceWeek Live for Sunday Pi Day, March 14th, 2021. I am not located in a spacecraft flight deck today. You can see a whole bunch of mess behind me. It's because I took down the green screen a couple days ago preparing for my big yard sale, because I'm in the process of moving, and I forgot to put it back up. So today you get to look at my clutter. I had to phrase that carefully. Last week, let's see. Last week on Thursday, SpaceX launched Starlink 20. Now that we're back on track with the Starlink numbers after 17 was delayed so many times. Let's check that out.
Stage 1.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Pupils
pitching downrange.
Success all the way around. So good job, SpaceX. And then on Thursday, China had their first successful launch of a Long March 7A rocket, delivering the classified XJY-6 or Xi'an-9 satellite to geostationary orbit. If you may recall, the Long March 7A, so XJY-6, this is actually the second satellite to carry that designator. Last year, China attempted their first Long March 7A launch, which was not successful. It left the pad but failed to reach orbit, and the satellite was lost. And so they renamed the replacement satellite with the same name, and it successfully launched this time. like the, if we go back a moment, I like the the angled thrust from those side boosters. So that always looks cool. And so this launch took place from Wenchang Satellite Launch Center, which is on an island in the far south of China. It's their only coastal launch facility. All their other older facilities are located far inland. Pardon me. And it's also, to my knowledge, Wenchang is the only facility they broadcast live launches from. Normally we don't get live feeds of Chinese launches, but there was actually one for this one. Also because it was a high-profile launch, their previous attempt with the Long March 7A having been a failure. So I did not stream that on this channel, but a stream was available. So then, let's see. On Friday, more China, they launched a Long March 4C with the Yaogan 3104 mission with 3 more reconnaissance satellites for that constellation.
Inspect male and female QD for debris.
Then on Saturday, NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins and Victor Glover conducted U.S. Spacewalk number 73 to perform various maintenance tasks outside the ISS. So the previous couple of spacewalks had to do with preparing the solar arrays for for upgrades. They're getting new solar array additions that will be delivered later this year by SpaceX Dragon cargo craft. But this time was just pure maintenance work. This included venting the early ammonia system jumper cables. I actually have no idea what that means, but that's what it's called. I'll have to look up what the early ammonia system is, but I know it's been on the space station since at least 2007. Installing a cable connection for the ESA's Columbus Bartolomeo platform. Replacing a cable for a ham radio system on the Columbus module. I'm not sure who they're going to be talking to with that, but installing clamps on the Bartolomeo platform cables. Replacing a wireless antenna assembly on the Unity module. Installing a stiffener on the airlock thermal cover so it's not so floppy. And routing cables to camera ports 8 and 9. And by the way, this clip is being played at 2 times speed, in case it looks like they're moving extra fast there. They really are. Then on, today, this morning, SpaceX launched Starlink 21. This brings the total number of orbiting Starlink satellites to 1,261.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9's configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Again, success all the way around. As has become standard with recent Starlink missions, or with recent Starlink missions, they've had a long coast phase up to an hour or an hour and a half before release. Here we have the landing.
Hopefully we'll be able to maintain video signal through landing.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Okay, the landing legs are out.
Terminal guidance.
Unfortunately, it looks like we weren't able to maintain that video signal. We'll bring that back to you as soon as we can, as well as a status update on that landing. Everything continues to look good.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Everything continues to look good there with second stage.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
All right, we heard it. We couldn't see it, but we did hear verbal confirmation that we had a successful landing of that booster, marking...
Yeah, so it's funny how SpaceX broadcasts dozens upon dozens of these launches, and whenever they lose telemetry, or not telemetry, whenever they lose the video signal during the drone ship landing, you know, there's always one troll that comes, or one, I don't know, uninformed individual that comes out and is like, you know, this looks so fake. They cut the feed and then it magically appears on the drone ship, and you know, meanwhile ignoring the many dozens of videos of uninterrupted landing footage that we have. I have no idea what possesses people to embrace such ridiculous ignorance, but it really is ridiculous. And then the deployment went as normal with the satellite retention bar going ping, and the satellites floating off into their orbits, where they will spread out over the next few weeks. Now, also this morning, I lost an hour of sleep because daylight saving time kicked in. Spring ahead 1 hour, fall behind 1 hour. When I say Eastern Time now, I mean Eastern Daylight Time, which is GMT -4, whereas previously it was GMT -5. So this week, I haven't completely updated my calendar, so I'll just keep myself on the screen and speak to you. This week, on Tuesday, March 16th, SpaceX might be launching Starship SN11 on a high-altitude test flight. Actually, I do have FAA schedule here, or FAA TFRs here. So the FAA shows a temporary flight restriction for that day, which is this one right here, up to an altitude. So this is... even though the TFR location is in the central time zone, the times are all given in UTC, or GMT. So, and this is up to an altitude of unlimited. The other TFR, the one that spans from February 8th to March 31st, is only up to an altitude of 7,200 feet. Now, normally when they schedule TFRs for test flights from Boca Chica, they do it in groups of 3 days in a row. So there will be a primary day and then 2 backup days. But for some reason this time there is only the one day that has a TFR. But that is always subject to change, and often usually does. So keep your eye on that. We might have an SN11 launch this week. Now, on Saturday, March 20th at 2 a.m. Eastern, 0607 GMT, a Russian Soyuz rocket will launch the CAS-500-1 Earth observation satellite for the Korean Aerospace Research Institute, Astroscale's ELSA-D active debris removal demonstration mission, and 4 Earth imaging microsatellites built by Axel Space of Japan on a rideshare mission. On Sunday, March 21st at 12:37 a.m. Eastern, 0437 GMT, SpaceX will launch Starlink 22 with 60 more satellites for their mega constellation. Let's see if we have any more launches this week. We may possibly have an Electron rocket launch on Saturday, March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. GMT, called They Go Up So Fast. The way launches have been going, or the way launch schedules have been going in the past, I don't know, half a year or so, there's a lot of conflicting information and spotty information between the different launch schedule websites. So you go to spaceflightnow.com or rocketlaunch.live or nextrocket.space, and you may see three different sets of information. So, for example, the Electron launch is listed on nextrocket.space, which pulls its data from thespacedevs.com via web API, and the Electron launch is not mentioned by either Spaceflight Now or rocketlaunch.live. So actually, okay, so on rocketlaunch.live it's just listed as March 2021, so they don't have a date for it. But so, what I have to do is sort of guesstimate which of these, do I trust, which appears to be the most recent information. And as always, launch schedules are subject to frequent change, in addition to just delays and scrubs. Sometimes wires get crossed and things get put on the schedule that don't actually happen, or get removed from the schedule actively, like, sometimes NASA will have a spacewalk scheduled that they, delay for whatever reason. But we just have to keep our eye on it and stay tuned. Let's see. So that is it for this week. I'd like to welcome our new members for this week. Edu Dome, Bryan Staley, and Rannie Arcena, or Arcena. Those are new channel members. If you want to join the team and get access to custom emojis and other goodies, just click the join button. Now, questions. Let's see what we got. If you do, and I'm sorry I didn't mention this before, if you do have any questions, please ask them in the chat and make sure to tag my name, Raw Space, so that we are sure to see them. So, TL Forever 262 asks, do you think that they will roll out Starlink to the general public soon? So if you go to the Starlink website, which I have done, and I've signed up, and I've paid the down payment on because you have to pay for the initial equipment and setup cost. So I paid the down payment for pre-registration or whatever. They forecast having availability in my area later this year, maybe third or fourth quarter. As for when it will actually be available here, that remains to be seen. And it also remains to be seen what level of availability there will be. So I know that they have stated that availability is on a first-come, first-served basis, but we have to bear in mind that they have always maintained that Starlink's primary purpose is to bring internet to the underserved, to people who don't normally have access to broadband internet. And Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live, has ample access to broadband internet. We've got Google Fiber gigabit in parts of Charlotte. We have AT&T Fiber gigabit in other parts of Charlotte. We have Spectrum cable everywhere. And so, yeah, I don't know if I personally am going to have access to Starlink, but I sure signed up for it, and I hope so. Even if I just use it as a backup, as a backup internet service, or maybe I will cut off my, maybe I'll unplug my Ethernet cable and broadcast not unplug my Ethernet, but maybe I'll unplug my modem and broadcast SpaceLink. Oh my God, broadcast SpaceWeek over my Starlink internet connection, just for some meta amusement goodness. Jay asks, Raw Space, have you ever met Elon Musk? No, I've never met Elon Musk. I've never seen a rocket launch live. I live, a number of hours from the closest launch facility. Not quite as many hours as Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, who I believe lives in Iowa, which is pretty much as far from a launch facility as you can get in the continental United States. But he has a much bigger travel budget than I do, and I don't think he has any kids. So he has the freedom to go camp out in Boca Chica waiting for launches and things like that, which would be so much fun. But I'm just not quite there yet. Maybe someday. But no, I've never met Elon. I doubt Elon has ever heard of me. It's possible he may have stopped by our 24/7 Starman stream at some point, but if he did, he never said anything in the chat, in any case. We have had lots of Elon Musks in the chat, but they were all in Turkey and Russia, oddly. So merhaba to all those Turkish Elon Musks. MVM Motovlog Music, will your move interrupt SpaceWeek? If so, we understand. Well, thank you for that understanding. I don't expect it to. Unless like my moving day coincides with a Sunday, but I'm going to have overlap at both houses. So I'm scheduled to close on the new house on the 31st of this month, which is, obviously, you're not going to close on a weekend. So the 31st is 3 Wednesdays from now. And so after that, we're going to, at some point soon thereafter, we'll move our stuff, but it shouldn't interrupt SpaceWeek. I'll try not to interrupt it anyway. But if it does, I'll let you know via the community tab on my channel, which is pretty quiet, but I do give occasional announcements there. And as far as the Starman stream, that will be continuing, because I'm not I'm continuing to. I'll still be the owner of this house while I move into the other house. I'm timing it so that there's an overlap of a few weeks. I'm not going to list this house for sale until after I've moved. That way we can get our stuff out, clean the place up, do the repairs that we need to do, and then list it. Which is maybe going to cost me a little money, because for a short period of time I'll be paying for 2 mortgages. But there it is. So, yeah, I'll have continuous Starman stream during the move. G-Man 2030 asks, does SpaceX or NASA list the trajectory of the launch? Well, we generally know what orbital altitude it's headed for. I don't know if they pre-announce the specific trajectory. If there's any overflight, they launch over the ocean, so there's nothing out there in the direction they launch. Yeah, I'm actually not sure if they pre-announce a. We know whether it's headed for, geostationary, medium Earth orbit, low Earth orbit. We usually know whether it's a polar orbit or whatever. But as far as specific trajectories, I don't think so, until we actually observe the deployment and start tracking the satellites once they're up there. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so looks like Oh, sorry, Evan McGregor. You didn't get a notification because I was late to create the stream. Yeah, I should really get on top of things and create the stream for the following week's Space Week well ahead of time. But that would just be way too smart. So let's see. All right, so yep, not too many questions this week. Kind of short and sweet. If we have a Starship launch, then I'm sure there'll be more to talk about next week. But in the meantime, thank you all for coming. Keep it raw, and I will see you in the next stream. Bye for now. And Benu says goodbye too. He's like, why did you touch me?
to